Hey, what's going on YouTube? Raj here, back with a video in a new series I've set up on my channel called Just My Thoughts, a series where I talk about all fragrance related issues here. I'm not going to give my political views or relationship advice. It's just my thoughts on the fragrance industry, the fragrance community, all fragrance related chat basically. Today's going to be a video which I'll call something like appreciating niche fragrances. So appreciating niche fragrances. What is it all about? What's this video going to be about? Well, it's just me basically going to be talking about what I love about niche fragrances. There's a lot of talk in the online community about niche versus designer. I'm not going to go into that. I'm just going to say what I like about niche fragrances. I remember a few years ago when I first started getting into fragrances, and I used to wear in university fragrances from Paul Smith and Ralph Lauren and The Body Shop, and these were good fragrances, nice fragrances. You're going to smell nice, but you know, I got a job and I was starting to earn a bit of money, and I wanted to graduate. I wanted to step up step my game up basically. And I remember getting into some higher end designer brands, your Chanels and your Diors and Guerlains of the world. And this was the moment for me when I really thought to myself, you know what, I really like fragrance. I really enjoy what I'm smelling here. I was getting a little bit tired of the same old thing which I was smelling at the lower end of the market, and I wanted something a little bit extra. And you know, this was the point where I sort of caught the bug, you know, became really interested in fragrances, and then started thinking to myself, what else is out there? There must be something more out there, something better. I think this is something that drives a lot of people and drives their passion and desire to own new fragrances. They're always searching, you know, this quest to find the holy grail of fragrances, you know, what is going to be the next best thing. I think this is what a lot of people try and achieve, or you know, this is what pushes them forward to buy new fragrances. And I got into the niche side of things. In living in London, I'm very lucky to have some really good department stores here, high-end department stores, which sell some of the most craziest, eclectic fragrances on the market. Ones I had never heard of. I had never heard of half of these brands. I'm walking into a store and I'm looking around me thinking, what on earth are half of these brands? And I just loved exploring new brands and new scents and new creations and ideas and concepts and designs, bottle designs sometimes. Creativity was just oozing out of these places and oozing out of these brands and these fragrances which I was trying. And I really loved it. A kind of passion was really starting to develop in me. And this has really taken off and become really an obsession over the past year and a half, 2 years, maybe a year and a half actually. And it's got to the stage now where I'm actually a little bit more selective with my fragrance purchases, in the niche side of things, that is. You know, if I had to plot things on a graph, you know, when I was smelling niche fragrances, things were going up like this. I was trying more fragrances and becoming more and more amazed at what I was smelling. And things are starting to plateau slightly, and now and again I'll smell the odd fragrance which really excites me. But I think niche fragrances is just unbelievable. Some of the scents I've tried, I never would have thought in a million years, you know, or well, a few years ago actually, that I would be smelling these types of fragrances. You never thought they would have even existed. I just needed these department stores and YouTube reviewers to just open my eyes up a little bit. Open my eyes up and also break down some barriers that I always had up. It's something I've mentioned in my videos before. You would have heard me say this, but fragrances which are, you know, floral based fragrances, you know, like rose, fragrances like rose. I never would have thought that I would be wearing these types of fragrances, but some of the best fragrances I have floral undertones in them, or are rose dominated, you know. I never would have thought I would be smelling fragrances and wearing fragrances which reminded me of food, gourmand-based fragrances. You know, Ambre Narguilé by Hermes. Some of the Parfumerie Générale creations. These are unbelievable. You know, I never would have thought I'd be smelling these fragrances. And I really appreciate what's out there on the market, and there are hundreds, thousands probably, of niche fragrances out there which I cannot wait to explore. And you know, one thing I want to talk about is price, and it's a contentious issue when it comes to niche fragrances. A lot of people say it's a complete waste of money. I would never spend hundreds of pounds, several $100s on a niche fragrance. But the way I justify it is that if you're really into something in life, fragrances or anything else, and you really want to appreciate the finest form of of whatever you're into, it makes sense to spend a little bit extra. You know, I think if you can afford it, great, go for it, indulge. If you maybe can't afford it, and I'm not exactly the most wealthiest person around, I save up, I do my homework, I do my research, I go out and sample lots of stuff, and then when I come to buy a niche fragrance, I know that I'm buying the best thing, and I really savour what I buy. And I'm not wearing niche fragrances every day. You know, I have designer fragrances in my collection, I have cheaper options. But when I wear those niche brands, and it just makes me realise that there are some unbelievable creations out there not to be ignored. I don't believe in only wearing designer fragrances. I don't believe in wearing only niche fragrances. I think you should have some sort of a balance. I'm probably tipping towards the niche side of things. And you know, I don't think that if you're somebody who only says I only wear designer fragrances, no, go out and explore something new. You won't regret it. There are some unbelievable fragrances out there, and which will open your eyes and really make you realise that there's actually a whole new world out there apart from your Acqua di Gios and your Cool Waters. I'm not saying anything bad about those fragrances, and that's my next video. It's going to be on about appreciating designer fragrances, so look out for that. And I want to just touch on something really quickly about versatility. You know, not all niche fragrances are versatile. You know, not all, you know, haute couture, the high-end fashion, people walking down the catwalks wearing the craziest outfits, they're not the most versatile. But it's all about pushing that art form to a whole new level. I wouldn't wear a tuxedo every day, you know. I don't wear tuxedos every day, I don't wear the finest Italian leather shoes every day, but when I do, you really appreciate what you own, and you realise that there has been so much work put behind these fragrances. You start to appreciate who the perfumer is. I never would have thought, like, I would be interested in who made a fragrance a few years ago. Now I'm actually interested in perfumers, and maybe buying fragrances based on who created it. It's an amazing part of the fragrance industry, the niche side. So those are just a few of my thoughts, you know, just my thoughts. A new series I set up on my channel. Thanks for watching, guys, and let me know your thoughts. Always great to hear from you. See you soon. Bye.